Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Yulia Novia Putri. My student's ID number is 19018118. I am a student at Universitas Negeri Padang. On this occasion, I would like to present an article. The title of the article is English as a Foreign Language Teacher's Challenges in Promoting Learner Autonomy in the 21st Century Learning. There are 5 main points that we are going to discuss in this opportunity. The first, it is introduction. The second, it is research method. The third, it is findings. The fourth, it is discussion. And the last is conclusion. Let's begin with the first main point, that is introduction. Lifelong learning is seen as a continuous lifetime experience that leads individual for self-development and autonomous. Long life education is a concept where individual will always learn along with their life, since education is life itself. The concept of learner autonomy is reflected in Foundation of Education in Indonesia. It is stated in the curriculum 2013. However, the cultural influence seems to be the challenge for Indonesian English as a foreign language learners. Asian countries, especially students in Asian countries, tend to be reticent and passive because the learning process is influenced by the cultural. Learner autonomy is considered as one of the prominent factors in creating meaningful learning, which means that learning process is considered as meaningful learning when learner autonomy is existed. However, the teachers were faced challenge by reticent and passive students. As I mentioned before, students in Asian countries tend to be reticent and passive because the learning process is influenced by the cultural. It is necessary to identify the challenges and trace the factors so that the teachers and the students of English as a foreign language can overcome the problems together. However, in this study, the problems is focused with the teacher's point of view. The statements of the research problem were proposed as follows. There are 2 research problems in this study. The first, what are the challenges in promoting learner autonomy in the 21st century learning faced by English as a foreign language teachers? And the second, how do the English as foreign language teachers face the challenges? Next, we move to the research method. This study applied a descriptive qualitative research design, since this study involved natural settings in junior high school classrooms where teaching and learning were conducted. In deciding the subject of the study, purposive random sampling was conducted by also considering some characteristics of the subject. The researchers interviewed the subjects using interview guidelines with an audio recorder's help so that important information from the subject is not missing. The data analysis in this study followed the five steps by Creswell 2009, which consists of data collection, data reduction, data display, and conclusion drawing. Next, we move to the findings of this study. This is the findings of the study. The first line is challenges and the second line is strategies. For the challenges faced by English as a foreign language teachers in promoting learner autonomy are policy constraints, institutional constraint, language teaching, and learner's background. The first challenge, it is policy constraints. The interview result revealed that there was an indication of the school zoning system that determines students' quality, which will affect the students' autonomy. The second problem, it is institutional constraint. Institutional constraints include rules and regulation, certification, examination, curriculums, and the school's physical and social organization, and also classroom practices that may hinder teachers' roles in promoting learner autonomy. The third, it is language teaching constraint. Language teaching constraint is the assumption of how languages and relevant learning resources and activities are learned. And the last problem is learner's background constraint. The interview result revealed that cultural influence such as collectivism and high power distance as the challenge in promoting learner autonomy. Next, we move to the strategies which can be used in facing the problems mentioned before. For the first problem, it is policy constraint. The strategy that can be applied in facing this problem is applying collaborative learning strategies. The English as a foreign language learners applied collaborative strategy through group work by some consideration. Particularly, collaborative learning taught those students to be self-directed. For the second problem, that is institutional constraint, a strategy that can be used to face this problem is planning and managing time. To cover the limited time within curricula, the teachers make planning such as preparing an academic calendar to make the meeting. And for the third problem, language teaching, the strategy that can be applied to face this problem is applying collaborative learning strategies, as well as the first problem. The English as a foreign language teachers applied a collaborative learning strategy through group work by some consideration. And for the last problem, that is learner's background constraint, the strategy that can be used to face this problem is initiating activities to involve in learning and giving reinforcement. Less motivated and encouraged students might create a passive teaching learning activity. Furthermore, the school zoning system as the educational policy constraint affects students' quality. By giving reinforcement, it is useful to overcome the challenges of students' different characteristics. Next, we move to the discussion. The present study identified problems faced by English as a foreign language teachers in promoting learner autonomy. As mentioned before, there are 4 problems faced by English as a foreign language teachers. The first, it is policy constraint. The second, it is institutional constraint. The third, it is language teaching. And the last, it is learner's background. The present study found that English as a foreign language teachers face a limitation of time in curricula. The present study also shows that the teachers were already implemented 21st century learning in some aspects through collaboration and communication. However, the present study also shows that there is an absence of information and communication technology application to the educational process in 21st century learning. For example, teaching and learning process tends to use traditional tools in learning process, such as the use of physical dictionary. The present study found that the lack of students' proficiency in English is the challenge teachers face. An unsupportive learning atmosphere outside the classroom was revealed to be part of students' problems maintaining their learning activities. The students needed a certain degree of concentration for learning so that learner autonomy can be promoted. A discrepancy was identified where institutional pressures, rigidity, and societal expectations factors were no longer belong to the challenges in encouraging autonomous learners. Any factors that is found in this study as the challenge to promote autonomy for learners was school zoning system. Students with less autonomy would have fewer responsibility for their learning, affecting their achievement. It means that students who have less autonomy would tend to be less responsible with their learning so that their achievement can be effective. Next, we move to the last part, that is conclusion. It is useful to identify the challenges in teaching and learning, which provide teachers with references to improve their teaching. This study reveals the problems faced by English as a foreign language teachers in promoting learner autonomy, and also the strategies which can be used to face the problems. The challenges faced by English as a foreign language teachers in promoting learner autonomy in 21st century learning. There are 4 problems, which are educational policy, institutional policy, language teaching constraint, and the last is learner's background constraint. Some strategies and approaches in transforming or in facing challenges applied by the English as a foreign language teachers are: the first, it is initiate learning, collaborative learning strategy. The third, it is planning, and the last, time management. These strategies can be used in facing the problems faced by English as a foreign language teachers in promoting learner autonomy. This is the reference of this presentation. This article, the title of the article is English as a Foreign Language Teachers Challenges in Promoting Learner Autonomy in the 21st Century Learning. This article was written by P. Wiraningsih and M. H. Santosa, published in 2020 on Journal on English as a Foreign Language. All right, that is all from me. I'm so sorry for my mistakes. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.